Well, we're on the air again.
Yay!
Now, how long we'll be on the air again, I don't know. If you found us, let's see how many people have found us so far. 0. Okay. Well, listen.
Well, we're having fun.
Yeah, we are. You're missing out. Come on and be with us here. It pops up and then people see it and we'll. I don't have it punched on the right camera. Well, there's one person there.
There we go.
Jolt Jack says, that was funny. And Josh Aldridge says, good afternoon, Walt. Yes, we're here. Well, I guess I'll reset things here because this is a new presentation. We are live at Indianapolis International Airport. I'm here with my buddy Howard, who lives in Indianapolis, who knows everything about Indianapolis International Airport, who's been in and out of here, I would say, hundreds of more times than I have. What's happening here? Well, here we are. Glad you found us again.
Even though
yes,
I've known you for this long, Walter, I don't think anybody who knew you when we were in college or otherwise would be at all surprised that you were doing something that involved technology and airports.
Yeah, well, now our main camera appears to have locked up. How does this happen? Let's go to a slide here, because that's what you do when you run into issues. Okay, there's our slide. Now we're just going to replug some things in here and see if we can get it going again on Runway DFW Live. Hey, we could just do radio. We could just do an audio broadcast.
Well, that would take us back to our roots.
That would. Okay, so that's channel 2. I think that's working again. Okay, so we missed a Southwest jet coming in, but we can see it taxiing. Let's go back to the live broadcast here. Let me catch up with the plane as it went out of frame. So this is, Southwest Flight 1977 coming in from Cancun. It is a MAX 8. So you can go right from here to Cancun. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there are not many direct flights other than to the major hubs.
Right.
Unfortunately, but there are a few, and there are some seasonal specialty flights, depending on the season, that might fly to places in Florida, or in this case, to Cancun.
Can you think of any other international destinations from here?
Well, for a while, Delta had a direct flight to Paris.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it was discontinued during COVID. But boy, people here just loved it, and frankly paid a premium to make that direct flight. Trying to think where else internationally, other
Canada? Did it go any?
Yeah, Canada. I mean, Air Canada did or does have flights to Toronto, I believe. That's all I can think of at the moment.
All right.
I suspect some of those FedEx planes might go to international destinations, but
yeah, well, there's one that's parked there. It's been on the radar for 2 days. It came in from Liège, which I think was in Belgium. I
believe so.
And I don't know if you're just tuning in, that other voice is Howard, my old college roommate who lives in Indianapolis, has been for a long time. And he really came prepared. If you heard the first part of our, or the first half of our broadcast, or the first portion of our broadcast, it didn't last very long. We haven't really done a marathon broadcast from here yet. We were on Friday night for about, 45 minutes before the rain came. And then yesterday we were on for about an hour and a half, kind of impromptu.
The Southwest is preening for us here to our position. That's nice.
Yes.
Maybe it's just because it's coming into A3 or A4.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Indianapolis, well, it's the capital of Indiana, which is a state in the USA, kind of in the Midwest. Is this technically the Midwest? I always wondered about that.
I think most folks would consider it that, although folks that live up in the Dakotas think that's the Midwest.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure then what they consider we Hoosiers in this part of the world.
Hoosiers. Now that's...
And I know what you're asking yourself. Where does that word come from? And I won't repeat any of the stories except to tell you that I think no one is agreed upon the dozen or so stories as to which one is the correct one.
Yeah, I think I've heard a bunch of them relating to the word Hoosier. But yes, this is the Hoosier State. And that is American Airlines. Coming in from Charlotte. An Airbus A321. Charlotte, of course, one of American's hubs. I think that's the second, I don't know if it's the second busiest American hub, but it's certainly one of them after DFW.
I lived in Charlotte for about 5 years, and let me tell you, that was one crowded airport.
Whoa.
Every time I have to go through that hub, and it is packed. And
when was the last time you were there?
Probably sometime in the last 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And as we know, as will happen at hubs, right? Everybody comes in and goes out at the same time. So while you're rushing from one plane to another,
How many? Does it have multiple concourses? Or
it does. And let me just say that if you come in on one of their mainline flights and are going out on one of their commuter flights, it is a long, long way.
Wow.
And there are no trams or anything.
Oh, wow.
It's all, you're hustling on foot.
You're hoofing it.
But it's not a bad airport. It's just no Indianapolis.
All right, well, I'm glad you have found us again. We've got, looks like we've got 77 folks who've found us again. Here's Howard, right over there. There's me, working the controls. I see a familiar name there.
Oh, who is that?
I don't know. You may know.
Diana Mutz, who reminds me, yes, it's the Crossroads of America is another nickname for us here. Thank you, dear. I'll be home soon. That would be my wife.
O'Malley says Indianapolis is definitely the Midwest.
Yeah,
or
okay.
Illinois is definitely the Midwest. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, too. So O'Malley is kind of...
Oh, he's
maybe disputing your characterization of Indianapolis as the Midwest.
I don't know which authority would be definitive on that answer. I'm not sure where to get the definitive answer from. I guess it all depends on who you ask.
Google. Ask Google. So here's the American flight coming in from Charlotte. We've got a Delta flight backing out over here. guess that's escaped our attention there. Here it is. All right, so Howard, do you have an opinion? What airline have you flown on the most, or can you say what?
Certainly Delta and American would be first on the list. United probably second, because a lot of places you have to go through Chicago.
From here.
Yeah, from here. Admittedly, a lot of the Delta flights connect through Atlanta, although Minneapolis is also a choice, and frankly, the one that I would prefer.
Except in the winter, probably.
Except in the winter. That's a fair point. Lots of folks fly Southwest. Southwest has got a pretty fair number of flights out of here, and I've done that, although given the places that I normally go, I can't utilize Southwest as often as others. A lot of vacation destinations on Southwest out of Indianapolis.
I still can't get over my reluctance to travel on Southwest, even though they're very big in Dallas, because they don't have reserved seating. I want to know where my seat is.
I was going to say that at the risk of, I don't want anyone to think I'm a total snob. Yeah, I mean, I've been called that before.
Well, I'm not talking first class here. I'm just talking a seat where you know where it is.
It's a little too much like a professional wrestling match sometimes, getting on there. And Walt and I know a few things about professional wrestling.
Oh, yes.
From
Howard knows more than I do, because he used to work for a professional wrestling organization.
Well,
actually,
not the
organization, a TV station.
Yeah, I worked for a TV station here in town, and one Saturday night a month we would set up to record the wrestling matches. This is all before it was nationalized by big
Vince
organizations.
McMahon was just a baby at that time.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun.
Let's see here. Richard Carlisle, channel member, says, hello, Walt. We're at the airport and going to come by to say hello. Okay.
Great.
We're up on the roof on the, I guess it's the south side. And if Howard can find me, you can find me. Of course, he had to call me to find me, but we're not hiding. Gary Gonzo says Rolls-Royce has a huge presence in Indianapolis. A lot of jet engine development happens here.
That is true. That is true.
All right.
As opposed to lots of car dealerships, which there used to be one here, as a matter of fact, up in Zionsville, Indiana, just to the north of us. But now I guess if you want to buy a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce,
go to Chicago.
You have to go somewhere else.
Leslie,
I wouldn't know.
Leslie Morgan says, according to Uncle Wikipedia, the Midwest states include Illinois, Indiana, Iowa. Let me pop that up again. Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Ohio, and Wisconsin. I always wondered about Ohio. I thought Ohio might be not included there, but
some would. The Ohio Valley, which I know that the area when you start to get south of Ohio and down towards Cincinnati and into Kentucky. But I sound like a weatherman now.
Yeah. Do I need to put on our weather music? See, the problem is Howard doesn't have headphones. He can't hear our presentation. I didn't mean to put that on. Can't see our screen. Ack. Now here's our weather music. No, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Howard, but what's the weather?
For today?
Yeah.
Or tomorrow?
Today.
A little cloudy, mostly sunny. High 82 degrees. Tomorrow it's going to be a little cooler with only a high in the 60s. And I wish I had a weather map here I could point to.
Well, just do that. We'll key it in later.
Oh, okay, good. I think that we are not alone when we talk about how during this spring, if you didn't like the weather, just wait a few minutes.
Well, that's what we say in Texas. You say that here too?
I think there's nowhere that they don't say that except maybe in, I don't know, Arizona? I don't know.
It does rain there every now and again.
Just on occasion.
So let's see. Sarah Deal, Sarah the real deal up there in Boston says hello, Walt, mods, and friends. Hello, Sarah. You're probably all wondering now, what's with this Howard guy? Why is he your new sidekick? What's going on here?
I don't know. Is the job open?
I kind of is really, but I think you'd probably rather be here than in Texas. So.
Well, I don't know. With technology, I mean, can't you be just anywhere?
Well, you can't. You know what? We could Skype you in on a broad. You can do that with this. Maybe we'll try that sometime. He sounds very enthusiastic.
No, you know me, Walt. I'm up for anything.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, I've only had one other guest appearance remotely before, and that was our friend Kevin at Wellington Flights Live in New Zealand. He came on.
Wow.
And we chatted for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And he's a very interesting chap. And so...
I love New Zealand.
So I guess you've been there.
Yes. I was close.
Oh.
I was in Australia.
Okay.
I used to have a relative that lived in New Zealand,
Oh.
and everybody I know that's been to New Zealand just
I've heard so much
absolutely
about
just
it, yeah.
swears by it.
I really want to go. Landis McGowie, who's a Quadjet Channel member with a $10 super chat. Hello, Butler University Communications alum. Well, you know, back when I guess it is called it's called the College of Communications now, right?
Right,
Howard?
right. The radio TV department used to be, and I'm not sure. Well, I could tell you why, but it's a boring story. But it was part of the college, the Jordan College of Music,
Right.
now called the Jordan College of Fine Arts. And, at some point, Butler opened up a College of Communication, and logically, by then it wasn't called a radio TV department anymore. It was called something else, Media Studies or whatever they call it now. But it's still, that whole department is still going strong for Butler. Call it what you will.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. And if you missed our earlier, when I introduced Howard, he's also, in addition to being my roommate, which is probably the number one thing, he's also a trustee on the board of trustees at Butler University. And there's a building named after you. Tell us about that.
That there is. Well, my wife and I we're very involved in the arts generally, and Butler has a number of fine arts-related departments. Its Department of Dance is one of the most highly rated in the country, right up there with Juilliard and some of the others. Music and music education and arts administration, and a fair number of great performing arts facilities. Clues Hall, which opened in 1961. And although another famous facility on the Butler campus that people may know is, of course, Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yes. I think any sports-oriented person would know that name.
Right. So, kids, when you're applying to college, don't forget.
I didn't think of this as being a promo for Butler.
Well, nor did I until just this moment.
But you're a guy. You're a Butler guy, so
it's really a great school. You know that, Walter.
Yes.
You and I were there, and you and I were there. It was a very different place.
It was.
But it
my
was,
goodness.
It was a fine place. You and I had fun. Came out, got jobs.
Yep, it has changed a lot. Kevin Reed says, howdy from the West Texas desert. Hello there. Jolt Jack 747, celebrating 2 months of membership. I'm a Midwestern because I'm from North Dakota. Okay.
That's true.
What you're looking at there, if I can see my screen here, is Delta Flight 2679. It's a 757-200 going to Atlanta, its home base. And that aircraft dates back to the year 2000. stepped on my cable that plugs into my phone, and now it's not powered up. So I'm going to have to, after this plane takes off, I'll run over to the car and get another cable. I had all sorts of difficulties getting things lined up today, which is why our initial broadcast was running a little behind schedule, and then we got kicked off the air by the internet. So 757 taking off for Atlanta. There it goes.
What better position could you be in?
This is a good spot for takeoffs and landings on this side of the airport, no doubt. When I first was looking on satellite maps, I was worried that these structures would block the view, but as long as you plop down right in the middle here, it seems like it's going to be okay.
You know, I hope everybody's enjoying the broadcast, and I hope all of you, and I think you do, appreciate the work that Walt put in to not just be on the air, but to be on the air remotely from another city. You cannot imagine what I'm looking at as I see his setup here, and to think that he transported all of it in his luggage and carry-on
not much room
items.
for clothing, but well, thank you, Howard. But it's all for you, the viewer.
He is dedicated to his members here.
Joel Jack 747 says, "Hey Walt, do you think you can show my drawings from the last live stream?" Here's the problem, Jolt Jack. It's been kind of a whirlwind trip I've had, and I haven't had a chance to process your artwork for this one, so it's going to have to wait till the next time I'm on the air, probably from DFW. So I apologize for that, and I thank you for sending those drawings in. You do fine work. I can vouch for that. John M., channel member, says, "You two are lucky to still have at least one friend from your college days. I lost touch with all of mine." Wow. Haven't you heard of Facebook? Isn't that what it's for?
I have to say, I'm not still in touch with, other than by social media, I'm not in touch with many, which is why it's such a treat to be able to spend some time with this guy for a couple of days.
Diana Mutz says, "Walt, what's the strangest thing you've ever seen broadcasting from the airport?"
Oh. She's full of questions.
I know. Inquisitive. Strangest thing. I don't know. The most unusual aircraft I've ever seen was a Ukrainian cargo plane, which came in. I've only seen it once. I know it's come in several times. Actually, we've had two Ukrainian cargo planes, two different ones, one jet-powered and one piston-powered. In fact, that one, or maybe it's a turboprop, that one came in about a month or two ago, that other one, and it's so old. I think it was like 50 or 60 years old.
Wow.
And when it took off, it just leaves trails of smoke from its engines. There was no... Uncle Plane Guy, who lives in Indianapolis.
Oh, really?
He's a channel member, says, "Can Howard talk about the 727 that's here?" Now, there's a 727 three engines, and I think it's over on the other side of the airport. But I don't know if you know anything about it.
I'm not sure that I do. You know, they used to have an old plane sitting out in the middle of the airport, which might have been a 727 that they used
for fire training.
For fire training. Yeah, that's right. And I don't know if that's the one you're referring to, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, well, Howard did some research, but he doesn't know everything.
I couldn't anticipate everyone's question.
Right. Maybe next time. Oh, John M. See, he's reminding me. The strangest thing was the robot lawnmower at Founders Plaza. Yeah, we were broadcasting. Founders Plaza is where we broadcast from at DFW, and I'm looking down, and this robot lawnmower comes around and starts bumping into my tripod, and it was weird. And I don't think it was an airport. I think it was somebody who brought it there to. I thought it was weird. All right, I got a moment here. Let me get my. Usually I have to put on music when I run over and get another cable, but you can.
Oh well,
you can
want
talk.
me to? I could tell stories.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about the solar array at the Indianapolis International Airport. As you approach the airport, there are 2, maybe more, huge solar arrays. My understanding is that those solar panels create all the power that's needed at the airport and then some. I hope that's true. Because 1, I said it, and 2, it sure makes you feel good about the greenness of our airport here, which is nice. You know, the other story I could tell is, and I hope this person is viewing, even though they are in transit in a car. My wife and I had house guests this weekend, and one of the couple, I was telling her about what I was doing today with Walt, and she sounded very excited. She says, "Oh, I'm very much an airline and an aviation enthusiast." She said, "But I'm afraid to fly." But evidently, it does not stop her from flying. What she does is when she flies, she gets to know everything she possibly can. She has favorite equipment, and so she won't book a flight unless it's on her preferred equipment. She learns everything she can about the plane. She will look up the tail number on the plane. She will know the route. She will get in flight and get on the internet and use one of the apps to track her flight. And as soon as she sees a deviation from the path that she knows she's supposed to be on, she'll call over the flight attendant and say, "What's going on?" So
That is fascinating.
She does have an apprehensiveness about flying, but does not let it stop her.
Even though statistically,
Yeah.
as we all know, flying is the safest way to travel,
Yes.
at least commercial flying. If you get in a single-engine plane with your cousin, that might not be as safe as flying on Delta or American or United or whatever. All right, well, thank you for that interlude, Howard.
There you
We've
go.
got,
So-
I got my...
Was that better than the music, or was that?
No, much more informative than the music. Our music, our music is very cheesy '70s orchestral, copyright-free music. So it's like kind of like elevator. Well, it's technically it's production music, which you know
Yes.
what that is. But I like it because it's orchestral. It's not it's not synthesized.
Yes.
What you're looking at there is about to take off. It's Flight 2780 Delta. No, wait. Flight 2780 Delta is coming in from Atlanta. Did we just have we just had a plane take off to Atlanta. It's a 737-900. And now that is landed, another Delta aircraft. This one is Delta Express. Is that what it's called? Delta Express? Delta Connection? Delta Connection, I think. Going to LaGuardia Airport in New York. It's this Embraer 175.
I would say Washington National and LaGuardia are my 2 most frequented destinations, either for business or pleasure.
Wow. remembered that the Washington National being very convenient if
Yes.
you're, because it's so close to the district.
Yes,
And
and
you can-
Alexandria.
Oh, yes,
which
that's-
is where
yeah.
my family used to be, and
And also the public transportation there is very good.
yes, the metro train can take you many places you want to go. Although
Yeah.
this past trip, which we just took, I flew into Dulles because where I needed to be was closer to Dulles. And I forgot just how big it was, especially compared to National.
Yeah. Did you get to ride on one of those bus things that...
No, but I have in the past, and I was, as we were going through the airport, I was talking about those to my wife.
What do they call it? I
And
can't remember what they call them.
You know what? They used to have a name for them. Now they just call. I'm not sure what they call them. They now that the below ground tram is in business, they no longer need those. But people forget that the original purpose of those, there was only the one main terminal, and the
Right.
purpose of those I'll call them buses because I can't think of what else.
Yeah, they're like
call
kind
them, but they're-
of... They look like a bus, but they could rise up to the level of the plane doors
Correct.
on one side, and then I think they could go on open on both sides, and the
Well,
other
it was
side...
in the front and the back, so
Yeah.
that when they pulled into the terminal, the driver could go down to the other end and pull out without
Wow.
backing out. And the idea is that they had several gates, but when you went through the gate of the terminal, you weren't getting on the plane, you were getting on one of these contraptions, and it would take you to the plane and you would board from there.
And that was a concept, I think, was from back in the airport was built in the 60s?
60s, yep.
And I've seen online on YouTube, you can see it was an animation produced to kind of explain it all, and it's kind of genius, really, because it made a more efficient use of space. The planes didn't have to come right up to a gate; they could just park, and then this contraption would pull up to it and get the passengers inside. And I think there's one Canadian airport that uses the same vehicle, and they've had to rebuild them over the years and
Yeah,
kind
it
of
got-
keep them going because nobody makes them anymore.
Right. It got to a point where every time the slightest thing broke, it would have to be custom made.
Yeah.
Because there were no parts supply stores. Couldn't go to Pep Boys,
No.
pull something off the shelf.
O'Malley says sky lounges. Is that what they were called? That doesn't sound right. I know there's a name for those. Our audience will come up with it. And your wife points out there's a Lego model of Dulles inside the
Oh,
airport.
she's right. We didn't get to see the model. We saw a video of it while we were in the baggage claim area, and it is the most intricate model of the the beautiful terminal and planes, and it has one of those buses. Maybe they were called sky lounges, I don't know, but one of those buses that this guy made. And
Step on your mark.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
I'm
okay.
off the mark. I'm so excited. And I guess it was on display. I'm not sure where it was on display, but Dulles Airport bought it and put it on display, and I think it is in the main terminal where you check in. We were going to stop and take a look at it, and then got caught up in our travel plans of the day and never had a chance to do it. Oh, it is. It looks like it is called a mobile lounge.
Well, let's see. I could
Or is that
swear
it?
it had a different... We're looking at the Wikipedia page for
Yeah.
it.
The last time I was on one, it was before they had the underground tram built, and they would use them to transport you from the main terminal to one of the outer concourses. And it was really quiet. When you walked on there, you really felt like you were stepping back into the 1960s or 70s.
I really thought there was another name for those. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Somewhere in that airport is a presentation of the history of those things. I remember seeing it a long time ago. I hope it's still there.
Well, there you see backing out of its gate.
That was a pretty fast turnaround from A3.
Well, you know, Southwest is pretty well known for its turning around planes in short order. O'Malley says, I was on one of those mobile lounges. I was thinking how dumb they were.
Well, I guess they did become sort of out of style or,
I believe
over time.
I believe that those mobile lounges, however, predated jet bridges. So if you weren't going into one of those, you would be going outside to get into the terminal and going up and down stairs. So I guess.
I also think that was when there were fewer types of jets.
They were all the same height.
Right. Yeah. And mostly at Dulles was, those were for the long haul flights. There were you wouldn't be able to fly to Indianapolis from Dulles in those days. Mm-hmm. You had to go to National.
Let's see, we have I believe, an anniversary message here from Phil Cook, who is celebrating 4 months of membership. Good afternoon, Walt. As a Hoosier, currently living in Dallas, it's great to see you broadcasting from Indianapolis.
Wow.
Well, I guess I'm a former Hoosier. I lived here for 10 years. Does that qualify? Do you qualify
I
for
would,
that?
well, maybe you... Yes, you're part Hoosier, I guess. Pretty much like I am. I mean, I was not born here.
No.
My wife was born here and has lived here pretty much all her life. Mm-hmm. A few periods where she was somewhere else, but so neither you nor I are as Hoosier as, say, she is.
No, she's Hoosierific. We are just kind of Hoosier adjacent.
We're just sort of Hoosier.
Yeah. So that plane's getting towed. Or tugged.
Oh, no wonder they turned it around so quickly.
Yeah, get it out of the way. Get it out of here. We got more planes to pull in. Battery. I'm looking at the battery now. Sarah Deal says, Walt, did you see the JFK stream? Yes. I didn't see all of them, but the ones where our friends Kevin and Rudy were broadcasting live from JFK, and yes, they had some bad weather there, I must say, for part of it, but they made the best of it. And I saw you there, Sarah.
I am dying to go see that hotel that's in the old TWA terminal.
I know.
There.
That's where Sarah was and where our friend Kevin and Rudy were broadcasting from. And that just talk about, there's so many international airlines you just don't see anywhere else.
Right.
So you've never stayed at the TWA?
No. I know two different couples who have stayed there either, the night before a flight or when they were on their way home, and in one case, one of them I just saw their report on social media. Mm-hmm. They posted some photos. It just looks very cool.
Yeah, even if you're not interested in aviation, it would seem like just the vibe of the whole place seems terrific.
I think if you checked in, they'd probably want to make sure that you would leave after, Mr. Swerko, I'm sorry, we're afraid that if we let you in that room, you'll never leave.
I know. Well, Howard, you make it seem as though I'm just living for aviation, and I have no other purpose in life.
Well, I'm sure you have some other purpose in life. But I have to say, your dedication to this channel and what it takes to keep it going is admirable for all aviation fans.
Why, thank you, Howard. If you're just tuning in, this is Howard, my former roommate from many moons ago.
Your guide to Indianapolis.
And he is a trustee at Butler University, so he has nice things to say about Butler University, but why not? Because it's a great university. We are seeing down there United Flight 3488. It's going to Newark. It's an Embraer 175. And there it is, with the skyline of Indianapolis behind it.
My wife and I took an international flight on United to Nice, France, and we ended up with like an 8 or 9 hour layover in Newark, which was okay. It was kind of planned that way.
Yeah.
And there is a Polaris lounge in the Newark airport that is just delightful.
Wow. Of course, Newark is a big hub for United.
Yep.
Well, I'll keep that in mind next time I'm traveling first class on United or business class.
In fact, they wanted to change our flight to a later flight, and we weren't going to have as much time in the lounge. I said, no way. I want to get there early. I want to take full advantage.
Well, if I'm not in a hurry, I don't mind layovers at all.
Nor do I.
Just to stretch your legs and to get a local taste of the local flavor or whatever. Watch the planes come in and out. Watch the people watching.
Yeah, I'm also one of those people gets to the airport kind of crazy early, and thankfully, my wife doesn't mind that. She's okay with it.
That's good.
There's nothing worse than standing in a security line, getting
Right.
very nervous about your flight time and having to ask people, do you mind? I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. Because everybody hates that person.
I know. Daniel Jager says, are you going to DCA, to Washington National, Walt? I don't have any plans to. I've talked to my wife about, we both enjoy history and looking at all the there's just so much to see there. You could go for a long weekend and not see, even a smidgen of it. But I'd really like to go back. I haven't been to Washington in a long time.
I still know people there.
Wow.
I can fix you up.
Oh, good. Let's see, we're a little behind here. Are we still on the air? Yes. Okay. Leslie Morgan, channel member, says, I love layovers. My friends think I'm nuts.
No,
well, no, you have
are not nuts.
two folks who agree with you. O'Malley says, hey, Walt, Howard got a story of any college antics? Antics.
Oh, antics. Well, if for those, you guys that are watching this, I know you follow Walt because you think he's pretty great, and you're right, but
I see, there's a but there. Yes, I heard the but.
Well, no, it's going to coincide with that. Walter's worko and the word antics kind of, I don't know, they're antonyms, sort of. I don't have antics. Yeah, well, we had fun. We got into some good mischief working at the college radio station.
Well, let's put it this
late
way:
at night.
neither of us were in a fraternity.
Yeah,
we were in the dorm. So, there's kind of a, if you're in a fraternity, you're going to have some antic stories.
Antics will be plentiful.
Yes. So I can't say that we have any of those kind of stories.
In fact, just yesterday we were walking around the campus, and we could walk over to the dorm, and we virtually pointed to the window where our room was.
Yeah.
But
the window from which, now the dorm we lived in is now closed.
Yes.
Because it was built in the 20s.
Right.
It's an old building, solid building, but it kind of has outlived its usefulness as a dorm. But I remember in the wintertime, we didn't have, it was before those little 2 cubic feet refrigerators became popular, or at least affordable. So we would just hang our cold things out the window until we got told not to do that anymore. That was an antic. How about that for an antic?
Well, and then I think one time we actually got a refrigerator, but we weren't supposed to have it. I don't know why. Maybe it used up too much electricity. So I
Yeah.
think we put it in the bottom of your or my closet and then covered it with our dirty clothes. And there were always plenty of dirty clothes.
And that food smelled great.
I'll tell you how dated you and I are. And I mentioned this the other day to somebody, and they couldn't believe it, that in Butler at the 1970s, the men's dorm, because they were,
Yeah.
they were segregated
Right.
by, men and women. The men's dorm, we had maid service once a week, such as it was, right?
I don't even remember
Somebody
that.
came in and changed the sheets on the bed. The women's dorm did not have it. Just to talk about that just seems ridiculous.
Well, they were girls. They would expect.
Yes,
expect
right.
it.
Well, of course, they knew how to change sheets. We as
course.
guys didn't, right? So.
Flight 3819 to Boston. Off to see you there, Sarah Deal. American Eagle in Embraer 175. There it is. Getting ready to make the U-turn there. Rich Sibeli says, looks pretty slow over in Indy. Well, you should have been here last night. This is...
There was a rush just between 2 and 3. It does
This is
seem to have
rocking.
slowed down.
Jane Welshie Lady says, has the FedEx got an engine problem? Can you zoom in, Walt, please? Well, there's like 10, I think. Last night I counted 10 FedEx planes there, so maybe the one... Well, I'll zoom in again. We're at a slight disadvantage because while we can see the planes and I can zoom in on them, it's really hard to see the screens because it's so darn bright out here. So you're seeing things on your 75-inch TV set that we cannot see.
There's the one sort of in the middle that it looks like it's got some equipment pulled up next to it, but that may just be loading cargo. I don't know. I can't see without...
Well, we'll zoom in on that again after we watch this plane head out to Boston.
I forgot I brought my trusty binoculars with me.
Now that's dedication. All right, so let's see if we can...
It might be referring to the one, the darker brown, the one on the right has...
Oh.
Looks like there's some equipment pulled up to the starboard side of it. I can't really...
Well, we're at full zoom here. I can't tell. They're doing something.
Yeah?
So that's one of the planes that are here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was just about to count them, too.
9, 10, 11,
I think I mentioned
12.
earlier, maybe it was like in our broadcast, that FedEx is, over the last couple of years, has been making a huge expansion at this airport.
Yeah,
and
there's about a dozen planes here.
And if you come here late at night or early in the morning, there are dozens of planes parked all over the place there, and
There's another one of the planes there, and can't tell if they're working on an engine or if they're inspecting the wings, or who knows. We're about to see Delta Flight 5615, Delta Connection from Boston. So let us get into position to see that for you. Right here on Runway DFW, live at Indianapolis International Airport, with my special guest, Howard.
Walt, I think we've been discovered.
Oh, have we?
If you look to your left.
Well, I can't at the moment, so paint the word picture for me, Howard. Is somebody...
I think it's someone who is familiar with what you're doing here.
Oh, okay. I was going to say there's two different things. It could be an officer of the law.
No, it is not an officer of the law who has finally found you.
Well, that's good. Well, let me see here. We'll turn the camera around.
Okay, I'll
Who do we
report
have?
on this as you...
Want to come over here?
Just want to come by and say hello.
Hello. I'm Walt.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Channel member.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just want to come by. My son made you some pictures here.
Oh, let's take a look. Now, it's very windy, but let's see if we can put them on. Wait a minute. Can you hold these up? Let me turn the camera around. Whoa.
This is Ryan.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, let me...
Ryan,
we've got...
there we go. Here, let
me turn this around, because Ryan's got some really cool pictures here.
These?
Yeah?
Wow.
And this is Howard, my friend. Let me punch this up here. Okay, so there's Ryan, and there is his picture of, wow.
How old are you, Ryan?
I like making drawings because this is my hobby.
That's your hobby, okay.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 7 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Well, you're as old as my grandson.
that's pretty good.
So tell us about the picture. I see a Lufthansa plane, an American plane, and a Cargolux plane, a FedEx
Yes.
plane.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything.
That's got a
Cargo
lot.
love.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
And this one's got one for you too.
Let's see. Come on in. We need to step in. Step in here. What's your name?
My name is Richie Carlisle.
Hey, Richard. And wow.
That is really great. Are you taking lessons, or are you just...
No, I've been drawing since I was 4.
Wow. It runs in the family then, I guess.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So describe what your picture is.
Indianapolis in 1972.
Uh-huh. So we see a Pan Am, a 707?
Yeah.
An American Airlines, I guess 707, a TWA, and a remote truck. Oh, the Runway DFW remote truck.
Yeah.
It didn't exist in 1977.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, wait. We've got another picture
okay.
down here.
So
too. Hang on,
Ryan's
don't
got
go
another
away.
photo,
There you
a
go.
picture for us.
Let's there we go.
Don't
Let's
let him
see
blow
this.
away.
Look.
Oh, okay.
Let me zoom in here. Well, this is better than watching airplanes.
Well, we are sort of looking at airplanes here.
Well, yeah, I mean,
real airplanes.
that is so great. I hope all of you can
Yes.
see and appreciate that. Big Cargolux 747 there in the foreground, a FedEx plane in the background. It says Runway DFW After Night, live at Indianapolis Airport. That is so great. Thank you for
That's
sharing that with us.
delightful. That's so nice.
Yeah, we have people send us pictures on a regular basis, but that is especially terrific. And
Let's work out this.
Oh,
That's an American.
that's an American, yeah.
Yeah.
so let me hold on. Let me punch that up.
Hold that up. Show it to Walt.
Let me punch the right camera here so you can see it too. Wow. Now, is that a model that you built, or you?
It's just a toy.
A toy, okay.
Airplanes.
Is that what is your favorite airline?
All of them.
All of them. Okay, that's a great
Answer.
answer for everything. Well, thank you so much.
That's
It was nice to meet you too.
We're
Thanks for.
just, halfway between here and South Bend, so we thought we'd drive down. And
You
say
came
hello.
all the way down
from
here
there?
for this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm sorry we don't have hors d'oeuvres or
Would you like a water?
I'm scared of heights, so it's.
Oh, okay,
I'm
well-
on the 5th floor, trying to keep calm.
Well, you got to go down that corkscrew to
Oh,
get down
my.
again.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you going to do any other sightseeing while you're here?
Probably not.
No?
Just head back in a little bit. So
How long
Where
a
do you
trip
live
is it
between
from
here and South Bend?
Kokomo, it's halfway. Yeah.
Kokomo.
Yeah.
About
Where the GM
less than an hour up
and
the road.
Chrysler factory.
All right, well,
Yeah.
is less than an hour to Kokomo?
Well,
Yeah.
actually, once you get north of the
Oh.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I live about an hour from DFW, so I can make the I can make that calculation.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for being here.
Hey, no problem. It's nice to meet you.
Thanks
Carl.
for
It's nice
coming
to
up
meet
to the
you,
fifth
too.
floor. I mean, you know.
It's the highlight of our trip.
Yes.
Well, thank
All right.
you.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
So glad to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, guys. Great
Take
work.
care.
Great artwork.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
evening.
Thanks. You too. Here. I think those are for you.
Oh, for me? Okay. Well, you know what I'll do is I'll make some good copies of these,
You want us to put it here?
and then I can
Yeah. Why don't we? We'll
Hold
to
on.
keep the wind
yeah.
off of them. There we go. We'll just
Stick 'em in the
put
car.
yeah, just
Awesome.
throw them in the front seat. That'll be great.
Well, that was so great. Thanks again.
That might have been the That might have been one of the last things that you would expect.
I
Have your
know.
fans come out in Indianapolis.
Well, yeah. We get stuff like that kind of regularly in Dallas, but that was really nice.
And you know, it's not a quick jaunt from Kokomo. I mean,
No,
people
they-
come here to
you've
fly
gotta-
out of the airport
yeah,
from
you've gotta
Kokomo, but it's
Give it some consideration.
and yes, it's just like the Beach Boys song. There is an actual Kokomo, Indiana.
The low-cost airline Spirit coming in from Fort Myers, Florida. An Airbus A321. And there you see a Delta plane which came in, I think, while we were engaged in that very nice repartee.
Now, here's something I guess you would know, or certainly one of our viewers would know. I'm looking at that United flight going by, the United plane going by in the background.
There it
Have
is.
the livery, has the color scheme on the tail changed lately, or is that something I just haven't noticed in a while?
I don't think
The
so.
blue, the color blue on the tail.
Well, they've got two different liveries going. This is the newer one of the two.
Right.
And yeah, I think the it may be more blue than the other one had some red in it, I think.
Right.
Well, let's see. We've held up for almost an hour now. That doesn't count our first effort.
I remember the excitement when Allegheny became U.S. Air. and
didn't
seeing
last long.
some of those first planes when they changed the livery on them. Wow, that was amazing stuff.
Well, we're always talking about the American Airlines livery. I liked the aluminum
Right.
livery much more than the current one, but they had to change it in part because they weren't building planes entirely out of aluminum anymore. We went to composites, which had to be painted.
The Spirit livery reminds me like of an Indianapolis race car. They're always painted, incredibly bright colors.
Yes. And we're just on the cusp of race month.
Yes, we are. 30 days in May, although sometimes it's more. And of course, the biggest change is, of course, the activity doesn't really start out at the track until the last couple of weeks of the month
Yeah.
these days. But
But it is the greatest spectacle in racing.
Indeed it is. If you've, even if you're not an IndyCar fan, if you ever have the opportunity to actually go to the race, I highly recommend it. I am personally not an IndyCar fan. I mean, when you live in Indianapolis, there's always a certain level of knowledge you have to carry around.
Are you scoffed at for that?
Well, I try to have enough surface knowledge so I can,
Yeah.
that my lack of true fandom doesn't show. But going to the race, being amongst that many people, and I've always said that the start of the Indianapolis 500 is probably one of the most exciting moments in sports.
Mm.
So, and I do not work for the Chamber of Commerce. I do not work for the track. Just telling it like it is.
Super 80 Swiss Air channel member says, I like the blue globe on United, but prefer the old tulip logo. That's kind of like a U, United, and called the tulip logo. Yeah, so a lot of people feel that way.
I mean, the globe is a nod to Continental,
right?
When they merged.
Yes, as Landis McGowie notes here. So Howard knew that. Howard is no slouch when it comes to this stuff.
I appreciate it. At my age, I could have forgotten. I understand.
And Curios says UAL changed its livery a few years ago. Basically, a color change. They also made the word United larger on the fuselage, where it kind of goes over the windows instead of above them. Let's see. So I've been looking through our messages here.
I miss the old American Airlines jingle when they did advertise. We're American Airlines doing what we do best.
Yes.
And it was a catchy little tune.
It was. But my favorite was the Delta is ready when you are jingle.
Okay. Right, that was a good one.
That was a very good one. I've been looking on the internet I've only found one copy of it on YouTube from a radio ad, and it wasn't very good quality, but I really loved that.
The other
tune.
one, which goes back even further, when I was growing up and I was listening to the radio, or my mom would have the radio on as I was having breakfast, and it was for Allegheny, and the lyrics were the Allegheny air system has a lot more going for you. Huh. And I won't sing it. That would be, I don't want to. But it would.
Well, he can't sing it legally because we'd run into copyright problems.
Yeah, that's true. I would imagine that's been so long ago, it might even be in the public domain by now. So that's how long ago that was.
Let's see here. Oh, we were a little late on some of this commentary. Talking about the broadcast van, Magoo Manners. We do have a Runway DFW remote truck,
right?
In which he drew. I haven't shown it in a while. It's a physical little remote truck, a satellite truck.
Wow.
It really needs a new paint job, though.
I mean, hold it. You own a former satellite truck?
No, it's a
toy. I think I've seen that. You could have said yes. It's okay. This is show business. It's for entertainment purposes.
But we're talking about very talented. We see Jane Welshie lady saying terrific drawings, says Diana. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to all of your comments. That's fantastic. And Skittles is not talking about us. She's talking about those drawings and those kids.
Certainly.
Yes. And Rebecca saying very cool drawings. Great artwork, says Landis McGowie. So when our friends play this back later, I hope they get to see all your comments. And the comments appeared in the in real time when we were broadcasting. We just started going back now to look at that. So John M. says, I liked when United played Rhapsody in Blue on their planes while boarding and exiting the plane. Do they still do that?
I don't remember. I don't think I've heard it for quite some time.
I see Pip Hastings Aviation online there. It's nothing like the city in the heartland, Indianapolis. Pip was just broadcasting the last few days. He's another live streamer from DFW, and he's been in Atlanta the last few days, which is, of course, the world's busiest airport, unlike this one, but that's okay. But we're glad to see that you had a bunch of broadcasts there,
I mean,
Pip.
I have to say again, well, I mean, I knew you were coming to town and we had plans to see each other. I did not expect for you to go to the effort to bring all this equipment and set this up. I mean,
well, here's the thing. This can be done
yes,
without all that other stuff. But it kind of, you can just have a camera and a computer and some way you can connect it to your phone and plug in some headphones. But I don't know.
You know, you're old school like me. Production values still mean something.
Patrick McClone's tuning in late today. Step back a little bit here, Howard. We'll put you on the air. Who is my co-host today? This is Howard Schrott. He is my former college roommate from many years ago. He lives in Indianapolis. He knows a lot about Indianapolis. I think you know everything about Indianapolis.
Well, not everything. That's a bold statement.
I like to make bold statements.
Well, okay. Well, it's clearly a bold statement. I don't know if it's a true bold statement, but it's a bold statement.
And so he lives here. He is now you're on the board of Butler University and also the local public TV,
Public
radio, media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
So you know he's into broadcasting.
I've always been a big Walt Zwerko fan. I have to say, even when he was on the air locally, doing news, he was. We all did internships when we were seniors, and he was a senior 1 year before me. And not only did he get the prime internship at WTHR at Channel 13.
Well, actually, it was WLWI at the time.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Technicality.
Yeah. But anyway, but not only that, I mean, a lot of times the interns were sort of hidden behind the scenes. I mean, they got valuable experience, but the pinnacle was if you actually made it on the air. And you actually made it on the air during those days. I did.
But, it was one of those things where you just kind of try to do everything you can. And,
right.
So if they used to have weather film to run behind the forecast. You would have to shoot some film. This was pre-videotape. And so nobody wanted to do that. It was kind of a nothing job. So I would say, I'll go do that. So they gave me a wind-up film camera, and I put it on a tripod, and I went to a pond with ducks on it or something, and there was your weather film. But I learned how to process the film and edit the film, and so, of course, skills which are no longer needed.
The other thing that when Walt graduated, he got a job there.
Actually, I had a job. I had a full-time job in January before I graduated. Right. So I was working full-time and finishing up school.
And you were a photographer for them, which meant that you actually got to drive a Channel 13, a news car.
Had a giant 13 on the side of it and police radios in it.
Man, and all of his college buddies from the radio TV department thought that was the coolest thing ever. And you'd get a call in the middle of the night to go capture a story.
A fire or a wreck. That was
some
big
guys
things.
would just be complaining, and all of Walt's buddies in the radio TV department said that is just the coolest thing ever. he is a superstar.
Well, it was fun. So yes, I worked there for 5 years at that TV station and got my career launched. You know what? I'm gonna get a water.
Oh, here, I'll get it for you.
Oh.
Now this is my job now, is getting water bottles.
Well,
for your
I have
host.
some in the car, which might be not as This one might be hot since it's been out in the sun.
Well, if it is,
It's water.
It's water. You will be.
I will be
Thirst.
satiated.
Yeah, your thirst will be quenched.
Thank you, Howard.
I personally cannot drink a lot of water while we're standing out here in the middle of the parking lot because, there's no facilities nearby. So, but I see you're a bold man, taking bold gulps.
Yeah, I took about 3 bold gulps there. Well, if you're just joining us, welcome in to Runway DFW live at Indianapolis International Airport. I don't have a clock on the screen. Where's my clock? 3:42. Let's see, our
We
batteries.
sound like disc jockeys giving.
Our battery's
checks.
still holding up. Do I have a clock in here? Where's my clock? And would my clock give the correct time? Oh, okay, there it is. Okay. I just had it unclicked because I wasn't sure if it would pull up Central Time.
Oh yeah,
But I guess it goes by what the
it
computer
is another one of the great mysteries about Indianapolis is we have such a checkered past in terms of whether we are on the Eastern Time or Central
Right.
Time, and for many years we used to stay on Eastern Standard Time, which meant when everybody else shifted ahead, we would then suddenly be on
The equivalent of Central Time.
Yeah, Central Time. So, there
Here.
goes a little guy. See,
Oh, wow. Missed that
little single
entirely.
engine.
Michael Schwarzkopf says, Walt, why are you in Indianapolis? Well, the reason is that I was here for the primary reason was that I was going to, I attended yesterday a reunion of classmates from the radio TV department at Butler University. And that was a very nice event.
Good turnout. Very good turnout.
Got to see a lot of folks that I hadn't seen in forever. And it was just nice to kind of get together with all them. So that's the reason I'm here, but it was only a one-day thing, even for several hours. But I thought, well, I'll look up Howard because I hadn't seen him in a while. I knew he lived here. And so we checked that box. And I thought, well, we've never been to this airport, and it's always nice to check out new airports. So what the heck, packed up all the gear and extended the visit by a few days and made a mini vacation out of it.
And I gave Walt the keys to the city. It wasn't they weren't the actual key to the city. It was a set of keys that I found in a drawer. I didn't know what they went to.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Now Howard, if you Howard we talked about this a little earlier. Howard has a building at Butler University. What is it called?
Oh, you embarrass me.
I know, but
it is the Schrott Center for the Arts at Butler University.
Okay, so I didn't want to get the name right. So Howard,
it's something of which I have to say I'm quite proud of. It is
you should be.
It is a 400-seat, just a medium-sized auditorium, which sits next to Clues Memorial Hall, which has been on the campus of Butler since 1961. That has, I believe, between 2,000 and 3,000 seat capacity. And so Butler had plans to make more of a mid-size auditorium that could be more useful to students because the students really couldn't fully utilize Clues Hall as a lab because it was very large and very expensive just to simply open the door.
Clues Hall is a big concert hall.
Yeah. And so it was on the drawing boards, and I was fortunate enough to be able to help that project along about 11... Well, it opened 11 years ago, so it was like 13 years ago that I was able to help that project along and see to it that it was able to open, and it's done, hopefully it has, and I think it has done a lot for students of the arts, of which Butler has a pretty expansive program, and music, and especially in dance, one of the finest dance, classical dance programs in the country, and it's a lab meant especially for them. But they bring in big acts as well.
So here's the thing: we were there. Howard was kind enough to give me a tour of the campus yesterday, We parked right next to the building, which has his name on it. He wanted to show me the building. He doesn't have a key.
Yeah, they know better than to give me a key. They're not going to do
There
that.
was somebody you could call, like
Well, if I had planned it, I suppose we could have figured out how to get in. But it was slightly spur of the moment as to when we were going to be there. But yeah, they don't want to, let riffraff like me in there just unannounced.
Well, anyway, that was a great tour. It was so great to see the campus, and Howard's spent a lot of time showing me around, and it's just very nice. I thank you for that in public, in person, for all your kindnesses since I've been here.
I just hope that you'll get here more often rather than, the 40 years since we've last seen each other.
Yeah. Let's see, Skittles with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Skittles. Hello, Walt, Mods, Howard, and all watching who love airplane spotting. Only 6 more days, Walt. I've never been to Texas, but I'm just about to find out what it's all about. I'll swing by to say hello when you are broadcasting. And Skittles, I'll be sure to be here. I'll look up again when you're coming in, and I'll be out there somehow over at Founders Plaza, even if it's North Flow. I'll be there because I'd love to see you. Skittles, a big supporter of the channel. Skittles lives in the great Northwest up in Washington State.
Mm.
And if you can draw some pictures for us, it'll be a real bonus. So we're back to aircraft here. That's a Delta Connection Flight 4972, which came in from LaGuardia Airport, I guess, while we were yakking away. The CRJ 900.
If you come to Indianapolis and use the airport, if you're flying on Delta or Southwest, and you have pre-check rather, the pre-check is in the entrance to the A concourse. Now, you can get to the B concourse after you go through pre-check on one side, but it's always sort of nice when your flight leaves out of the A concourse and you save yourself a few steps by not having to walk over to the B side.
Yeah. Let's see. Uncle Car Guy was saying, Walt, there's a FedEx 777 on the radar. You know what? That plane's been on the radar since yesterday. I think they forgot to turn off their transponder, so I don't think it's going anywhere immediately. It had said it had come in from Liege, and but yeah, now it's just kind of announcing that it's there. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that anytime soon. Let me see what's on the docket here as far as arrivals go. Let's see, it's 3:50 at 3:44. Well, let's see, these are arrivals. There's an Allegiant plane coming in from St. Petersburg, and I'm assuming that's the Florida one and not the Russia one, at 4:10.
Yeah, I don't think Allegiant flies to Russia.
No, I don't think so, no. And let's see, departures. It's kind of slowing down here, I would say. 3:55, Southwest is scheduled to send a 737-800 off to Baltimore.
Yeah, the Southwest just took off from the other side of the airport.
Mm. Well, the one that just took off was going to Sarasota, Florida. So I do see the Southwest to Baltimore Washington International Airport is pushing back from the gate according to the radar, but I don't know if it'll be on its way from this side of the airport or not. Skittles says she's catching the red eye out of SeaTac on Friday night. Josh Aldrich, who's up there in Oklahoma City, channel member and moderator, says, Walt, aren't you glad you're not in Dallas this weekend with all of our storms? Yeah, I guess I should consider myself lucky because we've been relatively, Friday we were here and we got a little sprinkle on us, but we're doing okay now. It's a little warm. I think they were predicting this is going to be, now, Howard, is this hot for this time of year?
Let me look here. It's 81 according to what I'm looking at. And yeah, that's, although the breeze doesn't feel quite that warm, but
Yeah.
81 for before the 1st of May it's a little warm. It is supposed to cool off tonight, and high's going to be in the 50s tomorrow, last time I looked.
And you might be asking, well, Walt, why don't you do a night stream here? Well, there's two reasons. One is I don't have all my night cameras. The main one is just too big to pack into carry-on luggage. I mean, I could carry it if I just needed to kind of scale down for this. And the other reason is there's not a lot happening at night, unless you're here in the middle of the night when you've got FedEx going crazy with planes. So.
Yeah, if you want to come out here at about 2 a.m., I haven't done it often, but there have been times when I didn't want to come into the airport at 2 a.m., but I ended up here at 2 a.m., and if you look up in the sky, depending upon which runway is open, you just see planes stacked up as far as you can see on a clear night. It's actually, it's pretty fascinating to see, and they're just coming in one after the other.
And I can hear them at my hotel because my hotel's just around the corner, but...
yeah, your hotel is in the shadow of where the old airport sat.
Which I guess there's no remnants of that left, right?
No, I think, as I recall reading here in the local media, and this has been years ago, they tried to find a suitable tenant, maybe someone that flew in a lot of jets or had the need for it, and finally, after a while, they just leveled it to the ground. There are some other office buildings. One is built, others have been proposed to be built on or near that site, but so far there's only one.
Yeah. Well, our batteries haven't given up yet, and our equipment is kind of clinging to reality here. But
I'm surprised in this heat. I would have.
I know. Well, it gets a lot hotter in Texas now. We try to find shade to at least cover. Oh, you know what? I haven't heard. I haven't heard the scanner. What happened here? Sorry, you're gonna hear some beeps here. Yeah, the ATC has been off, and I hadn't, with Howard here, see, if it was just me, there'd be these gaps in the conversation, and you'd say, well, where's the ATC? And so it's there. But we won't be hearing anything. Well, we've got hold on here. There's an American Airlines aircraft going back to Charlotte. It's an Airbus A321, flight 2215. So I normally have on my regular setup, I have a heavier tripod. I normally have a monitor here where I can see that over here. So I get less confused about what's on the air.
I think you're doing an incredible job. I'm looking over your shoulder in amazement.
Yeah. So aircraft in action here at IND. But yeah, Howard was telling, I can't remember if this was on the air or before we went on the air, about how he would be involved in remotes for wrestling matches, and tell us about the equipment that was necessarily to set up for that.
Yeah, this would have been, you were leading the glamorous life at Channel 13 in Indianapolis on the air, and I was a technician across the street at Channel 6, running a camera and such. And again, this would have been 1975 or so. But the benefit of my job was one Saturday night a month, we would take a huge remote truck with huge equipment to the Indianapolis Convention Center to record the championship wrestling. Now, this is before the days of the WWE. This is when there were regional promotions in the area, and we had local wrestling celebrities like Dick the Bruiser, a guy from Indianapolis, and a few others who would travel around, and Sam Menaker was the commentator. Anyway, we would go there and set it up, and we would have to set up 2 scaffoldings. One set of scaffolding was platform was about 6 to 8 feet off the ground. The other one was about 15 feet off the ground. But the cameras, do you remember the camera we were talking about it earlier? Like a TK something.
42, I think.
Yeah,
was...
it didn't have the turret lens on it. It had a zoom lens. It wasn't quite that old. But once we set up the scaffoldings, they literally had to bring in the convention center's forklift to lift the cameras up onto the scaffolding platform, and then it would take 4 of us to lift the camera onto its tripod.
Wow. And that, if I'm not mistaken, was just the camera. There was also a whole rack full of equipment that the cable had to plug into for the camera to work.
Yeah, these were not wireless devices.
No.
And the cables that ran into it had a connector on the end with, 40 pins, 50 pins, something huge. And then there were, of course, that many strands of cable, strands of wire that ran through the cable, which in and of themselves meant the cable weighed a lot.
Well, it was what, an inch and a half thick, or?
Yeah, probably inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches thick.
Wow. So how many cameras were used
There were 2 cameras, just 2. There were no, this was before the days of, shoulder-mounted camera. That was all we used. And then interesting trivia, on Tuesday or Wednesday, all the wrestlers would come into the studios and record promos for the next month. So
that where they would yell at each other.
Oh, they'd scream, they'd be mad, and the cameras would stop rolling and
make bold claims about. I hear it. Oh, there it is.
I hope we're not causing too big a commotion.
Well, I don't think... It's definitely not going to get up in the garage.
I certainly hope this is a practice run.
Yes.
Well,
that's about all we're going to be able to show you of that incident. Skittle says, so I have a question at DFW. Where do I go to get a rental car? Well, there's a rental car center there where you get on a bus or maybe a train. I'm not even sure if the train may go there now, but it used to be a bus. You get on there, unlike Indianapolis, where you can just go walk over to the counter from the luggage counter and then get a car
walk
and then
across the street
to the garage. You got to schlep all your luggage on a bus or a train to the rental car center where all the rental cars are. Now, I suppose there are some lower price budget or car rentals where you might take a bus to some off-site location. I don't really know because I've never rented a car at DFW Airport.
That's the problem when you live somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to rent a car.
Skittle says, I have a rental car booked through a third party, so it's a blue light special. I anticipate getting a Yugo or something that is built for economy, not speed. Well, there's nothing wrong with economy. You might have some vehicles passing you because it's Texas, but I think you'd be okay. But yeah, it may be that you have to call them and they come and pick you up to take you if it's an off-site rental agency. I don't know what to tell you about that. Well, we're killing time here at Indianapolis International Airport. Lock the camera down on another FedEx plane over there.
Please 635, runway 23 right, clear to land.
Gavin Hamilton says, "Hooray, Indianapolis!"
No.
Look at
Hooray
that.
to you, man. Come see us.
Skittle says, "It's interesting. I honestly thought Indianapolis might be a little busier, but I wasn't sure what to expect. But this is very calming." Well, I wasn't sure what to expect either. I did look to see, and I think they do have rushes, at certain times. Maybe in the mornings would be better than in the mid-afternoons, probably. But no, we're doing what we can. Channel member Veronica Peters says hello.
Hello.
Allegiant 635, just wanted to right, you are clear to land.
Sean McCorkle says, "I work there. Material handler, ramp agent. There will be a big rush of FedEx takeoffs around 9 to 10 a.m. It's nonstop for a good half hour to an hour. Now you tell me." Well, I'll be on alert for that next time. Thank you, Sean. Well, while we're talking about people who are channel members, and Uncle Plane Guy says, "Walt, will you come back to Indianapolis?" I don't honestly know.
Well, I hope so. I'm in favor. I
All right,
vote yes.
there's two votes right there. Uncle Plane Guy and Uncle
Sure,
Howard.
Diana says yes too, so there's three.
Okay. I should, at this point, let's put up our thank you stream here that crawls across the bottom of the screen. These are all of our several hundred now channel members as of noon today. So they'll be going by for about 15 minutes here. But we'll start out with our sponsor, James Webb. Thank you, James, for helping us immeasurably. And you hear an ambulance there in the background. So James Webb, our channel sponsor, we thank you. And we also want to call out the names of our Quad Jet channel members. And here they come at you right here. And you'll see a lot of names that are familiar to you, including 757 Chip, A-List Flyer Chris, Beaker and Honeydew, Beve, Cubs Win, Deborah Klein, Dimitri H., Dwayne C., James Webb, Josh Aldrich, Kai, Kansas Ave Geek, Landis McGowie, Lori M., Michael Schwarzkopf, Michelle R.S., Pete Nordine, Arbauer 25, Raina Taylor, who we saw in the chat earlier, S35 Bonanza Pilot, Skittles, we love Skittles, Steve Lundaby, Will Hutchison. Those are our Quad Jet channel members, and now you'll see the Twin Jet and Tri-Jet members flashing by, and I thank each and every one of you for your kindness to Runway DFW. Dav says ORD. I guess that's, are you going to go to Chicago O'Hare?
52, runway 23 right.
Who knows? You know, I like going here because it's an airport which I don't think has gotten a lot of coverage from other airport streamers. So, you know, there's a little novelty factor here. And so, who knows? I'm thinking about going to San Antonio next month in May because they're going to have the initial flight of Condor Airlines. Are you familiar with Condor? It's a German airline. Their planes are striped with, it looks like a beach towel. It's a crazy livery. It's very, not everybody likes it. I kind of do. They have these pastel stripes through the fuselage. You can't miss it. So that's in San Antonio later, I think in the middle of next month. So I don't know, maybe we'll go down there and check that out. Never been to San Antonio Airport. I've been to San Antonio. This is in Texas. I was there once to drop somebody off at the airport, but I never had a plane going in or out of San Antonio. What have we here? It's American Flight 4747 to LaGuardia Airport in New York. It's an Embraer 175. How are you doing on time, Howard?
Well, I think we're doing okay. You are, after all, the guest of honor at our dinner this evening, so.
That's true. Well, no, I'm not the guest of honor.
Speaking of people we haven't seen in
I know.
a long time.
Let's see, so that's at what time? 6?
Yeah, we're supposed to be there at 6.
Okay.
Or around 6, you know.
All right, well,
And then dinner's at 7.
okay, well, we'll close this up in short order. Rebecca Lee says, yes, Condor, Team Stripes. I guess there's a fan there.
47, anytime, runway 23 left.
Landis McGowie says, Runway DFW, Howard and Walt. Does Indianapolis use the runways of the old airport?
Well,
7, Lima uniform, turn right.
there are some old runways that aren't here anymore, but they essentially built the two primary runways here, 23 and 5, before they started building the actual new airport.
Oh.
And that was good. So the runways were here. The bad news is that from the old original terminal, you would taxi forever just to get to the runway. So it was really quite a relief when they finally finished the terminal here in 2008. But there are the two main runways, northeast, southwest. And then there's a third, and the identifier of that runway is escaping me at the moment. But it essentially runs, I believe, in a more north-south direction.
So how obviously having gone to school here and worked here for 10 years, I was in and out of this airport fairly often, but I have no recollection of what the terminal was like. Do you have any?
Oh, it was a typical sort of terminal that I guess must have been built in the 60s, maybe. I mean, it was. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Narrow concourses, very dark. None of the real modern conveniences. I mean, and it was also, I remember first going to it at a time when there were no real security checkpoints to go to either place. The parking was convenient, but there was really nothing at all different or interesting or spectacular about it, like there is at the one we have here now. It's been here for, 16 years or so.
So let's see, Curios, this song said FedEx 777 is pushing back.
By the way, the other runway actually runs northwest southeast.
Thank you for the update.
But I guess I should have been even more prepared.
Well, here's the thing. Again, when we get questions, there's usually somebody in the chat room who can either answer it or find the answer.
I will find the answer. I will make it my duty.
So we're looking at FedEx flight number 92 going back to Liege.
Oh.
7.
So it is here.
Yep.
All right. That's very kind of you, O'Malley. Very kind of you.
O'Malley's pretty.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty. He tells it like it is.
All right. Well,
when I screw up, he lets me know. So.
All right. Well, that's why I'm really afraid to say anything I'm not sure of, because your viewers, I'm sure, have got a depth of knowledge about so many things.
And I was being told to do a mic check, and thank you, O'Malley. See, he calls it I switched my mic off for some reason. My hand slipped on the button which muted the mic. So thank you, O'Malley. Well, this is an interesting question. Didn't the British Airports Authority actually run the Indianapolis terminal at one point, adding concessions?
You know, that is sort of bringing back memories, because I think British Air had a subsidiary of some sort that operated airports, and they, now that you mention it, they may have operated, I'm pretty sure, in the old airport. I don't think it's been in this one, but that may very well be right. That's
our viewers.
That's a good recollection.
Yes, sir. So I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. It looks like there's some kind of a scaffolding or something on the back side of that wing, the left wing, but so I don't know if it's pushing back or not. So Curio says flight control testing on at the 777. Because I didn't see that plane as being a departure in the short term here, as we get a gust of wind. Well, we've got to close things down anyway, really, as our camera gets blown about. But we will be doing, I think, extravaganza. So while I pack up, Howard's got his binoculars out.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some piece of equipment behind that wing. So
right.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, so they did back it out, but I guess they are doing it to inspect, or maybe they saw something as they were backing out, because it's on the flight radars going to Liege. And when does it say it's supposed to depart? Scheduled for 4:15, so which is now essentially.
I don't think they're going to be out of here at 4:15.
No, I don't think so.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have seen that go up in the air, but we've got things to do. Johnny Dodge says, thank you, Walt. We can't wait to see you back here spotting at Founders Plaza. Away from that pesky Howard guy. Oh, he didn't say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, get rid of that guy.
John M. says, thank you for taking us with you to Indianapolis. Well, no, look at this. The plane is pulling away. So maybe we will get to see this.
Would you look at that?
Maybe we will get to see this taking off.
How wrong are we?
Before too long. Well, you know, I was counting on Howard to be right, and I think Howard was this one who specifically said, I don't think that one's going anywhere.
Yeah,
Wind check 2.
See, this is why you are the professional, and I am merely the hanger-on.
I don't know. It didn't look to me it was going anywhere either, so.
Yeah, but you were smart enough to not say anything.
But I was thinking it.
Well, this could be the highlight of the day here.
Well, it will be the highlight, I guess. Unless they shift it over to the other side of the airport.
Well, and then you'll have to apologize for me.
Right.
Or to me.
As you recall, Howard said this would be the highlight of the day. But we talked earlier about Howard being a remote guest, and I'm kind of excited about that idea.
We can give it a try, although...
I mean, it does come in handy for filling in the gaps.
Right. I make an excellent gap filler.
Mm-hmm. You're kind of like spackling.
By the way, can you validate my parking before I leave here today, Walt?
I'll hop out and pay for it.
That's actually another nice feature of this airport. You can pre-register your credit card and get a parking card that opens the gate and closes the gate, so you don't have to stop and pay.
Wow.
It just automatically gets charged on the way out.
But
Very handy. Okay, I think
Yeah, here we go.
this guy is ready to go.
777 off to Europe. And this will be our big finale on Runway DFW at Indianapolis International Airport.
Wow. We don't get to see this often here.
Well, if you were up at 2 a.m. in the morning, you probably would.
Like I said, I don't get to see this often here.
Oh, is that all we're going to see? I guess so.
Heavy kind of departure.
All right, we're going to switch over to camera 3. Oh, how convenient. Our credit roll has just completed. So we'll switch back up here. Here we are. So for me and Howard, I want to thank you very much for watching this special broadcast of Runway DFW Live at Indianapolis International Airport. Howard, thank you so much for
Thank you for
being
coming
a part of this.
and visiting. It's been so good to see you again, and thanks for bringing all your equipment and highlighting our beautiful airport.
It is a beautiful airport. I can vouch for that. And I'll be off tomorrow night back to DFW, but it's been a great visit so far.
Thanks to all your kind visitors for putting up with my nonsense.
I think they will. I'm gonna say if they're gonna give a review to this broadcast,
All right.
This guy's gonna be the highlight. So thank you again, Howard.
All right. Thanks,
So
Walter.
now it's chat extravaganza time. So what we do here is we hit that button, we hit this button, and okay, it's time for chat extravaganza, where you, the Runway DFW viewer, get to chat amongst yourselves while we play cheesy music and you watch us pack up, or watch me pack up, and you watch Howard. Well, Howard can leave whenever he wants, but
No, I'll help you wind cables. Remember the wrestling remotes? Yeah, I got good at that.
yeah, well, it's not necessary. Let's see here. I got to find our playlist here. I should have been more prepared for this, right? Well, actually, should we? Yeah, we'll do the. Okay, after dark bends,
Report about 27 contact departures.
Here we go.
4527, see you.
So we'll pack up and we'll see you later on Runway DFW. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know, but at least sometime later this week at DFW Airport.
118, runway heading clear for takeoff. Runway heading clear.
Worldwide Radio. Get with the conversation.
198, Midi. Lima Tower, transition approved, squawk 302. Take a clear departure. Take a clear today. Unconscious, delivery of contact south of downtown. I'll 3000, winds 1017. 3017.
You hear nothing but the best. Roger, winds 2001. Direct fly, row, head and clear takeoff. Inland Lima traffic, see the right straight out, the Challenger. Down in 5 days, Roger.
on the World Wide Web.
Well, I think I've done all the damage I can do here as far as packing up without turning things off. I want to thank you very much for watching Runway DFW live from Dallas, not Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, but rather from Indianapolis International Airport in Indianapolis, Indiana. Special thanks to our guest co-host, Howard Trott, with his wealth of knowledge about the airport in Indianapolis and Indiana and stories galore. He came prepared. Thank you, Howard. We'll see you next time on Runway DFW, whether that be tomorrow sometime. I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze in a broadcast ere I depart. If I can, that'll be kind of an off-the-cuff one. If not, we'll be back at our regular digs in Dallas, Fort Worth later this week. So, adios from the Eastern Time Zone on Runway DFW. Thanks for watching.
For overseas acts and promotional consideration furnished by Pan American World Airways, the world's most experienced airline. Pan Am makes the going great. This is Dick Tufeld speaking.
for The Price is Right, which follows at most of the CBS stations.
We hope you liked it. Too late to change it now.